Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw this new floor plan, which you should try to do unassisted, but again, if you've got the recording there, if you want to look at that, of course, that's what I'm happy for you to do. And so here you can see all of the dimensions we need, and the technique you should always use when you're setting out walls that have openings in them is to draw the walls first, then put the openings in. Always, yeah. So I'm going to start with the outer wall, so I'm using the rectangle tool, and here on the ribbon I've just clicked on that rectangle button, and I'm going to click a point by eye that's inside the origin there and above it, and then type in the overall size of the outside of the building. Since we've got that measurement, it is 12,400, 7,800. Enter, and we've got our outer walls. So I'm going to zoom in then to see those, and if you can't see your line weights, just make sure the button down there on the status bar is turned on, and if you can't see that button, just make sure it's ticked there in that customise panel, because that's a setting that can be changed by other people. So now I can simply offset that line with the offset tool up here, type in the distance 450, enter, select the rectangle, click inside, enter. So I've got the outer wall, of course, also the exterior wall, and now I want to put in my openings, and I'm going to show you a couple of ways. So I'll start by exploding that outer rectangle. So I'm going to select that, click explode, and then use offset, and type in the distance from the outer wall to the opening, which again I'll just put up the dimension so you can see it. So it's 1200 here, and then 1400 is the size of the opening next to that. Okay, so I'll type in that distance, 1200, enter, select my line, and then click to the right. And now to quickly enter a new distance to offset, I'm just going to press enter twice, because enter completes the command, and then enter repeats the last command. That's the shortcut that enter does when it's got no command running. It always repeats the last one. So it's gone back to asking me for a new distance down the bottom on the command line, and I'll type in 1400, enter, select my line, and then click to the right. So then, just have to look at the next measurement because I can't read the paper. 2900 and then 1400 again. Okay, so again, enter twice, 2900 is my next distance, and then again, enter twice, and then 1400, and again, enter twice, and 4700? Yeah, no, 2700. 2700 is the next one. And then again 1400 for the opening again. Okay, so that obviously is giving me lines that set up the size of my opening. And I wanted to do it that way, partly to show you, explode again, also offset, and then really now I can have a good look at that trim tool. And so with trim, you might remember that you can press enter to start with to make everything a cutting edge, and then it just cuts back to the nearest thing. But I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to select, now I've got to stop. I've got to select this line, but notice it's trying to select the whole rectangle. So I'm going to pause, press escape, and select that rectangle and explode it as well. So now it's just like the outside one, it's all separate lines, and I'll go back to trim, and now I can choose just that line, right, because I don't want it to cut down here. I'm also then just going to choose these other lines going across, all of those lines I can just click to the right and get a green rectangle, if you remember the crossing over those lines. So they're my cutting edges. Anything I choose will cut back to those things that I've selected. So now I'll press enter, and when I cut these lines now, selecting them in the same way I just did, notice that they don't cut at the bottom. That's what I want. And now I can just do the same thing going through all these openings, and I've got the window openings. So that's done. So that technique works. But then just to show you another way of doing something similar, but with the line tool, we've got here a dimension, what is that, 680 from the corner of the wall. Okay, so I'm going to draw using the line tool. I'm just going to move my cursor onto that point, and then without clicking, move the cursor down, and you can see it's highlighted that corner point. That's called a blip. It's the technical term. And so if you see that blip, then you can type in a measurement, and I'm going to type that measurement 680, enter, and well, it should pick up that point and move down from there, but notice it's gone and done something else. And that's because of what I was showing you before. I had the nearest running snap on. So clicking on that arrow, you can see nearest is ticked, and that caused a problem because it was snapping to the line. I didn't want that, so I'll turn that off, and I'll just repeat it. So you might hear me saying that it's not good to leave that nearest turned on. It's fine to use it, but then when you finish with it, turn it back off, because it gets in the way. So yeah, if I go back to drawing a line now, from there, coming down, that's better, 680, and there we are. So now it's starting at the point I want, and then I can simply take my line across to the inside of the wall, and then offset, just like I did a moment ago. So, oops, 1400. Alrighty, and then now I can just continue using offset to get the remainder of those lines, so 470 and 2700. So again, offset, 470. What did I do there? Sorry, that's not right.
I think you put 200.
Yeah, I think I put 4700. Okay, so I'll just do that again. Offset, 470, enter, and then, yep, that's better. And then again, enter twice. Now 2700. Yep, 2 zeros. And then 470. And then 1400 for the last window. Okay, so this time I'll use trim again, but this time I don't have to select cutting edges. So I'll do it the other way and press enter, and that makes everything a cutting edge. So when I pick a line now, it just cuts back to the nearest thing without me having to tell it. Oh, because I pressed enter. So without selecting anything, press enter, and then everything cuts. So they're the two options. You can either select an edge, and then you have to select all the ones you want, or press enter and yep, everything's an edge. So now we've just got one more opening down at the bottom, and that is, also I'll just get the dimension up again. Okay, so down here, 6100 from the corner, and then 2000. So again, drawing a line from that corner, cutting across 6100. What was it? 60, I've already forgotten. 61 or 69? 61, yeah, yeah. So 6100, and then, oh, now, notice how here, when I'm coming up, it's snapping perpendicular. So if you don't have that one turned on, it might snap to the midpoint, so that's a good one just to check, make sure you've got perpendicular tick there. And again, it'll snap to the inside line. And then, again, was it 2000 exactly?
Yeah.
Yep, so again, offset, yeah, great. So offset 2000 from that line. And again, trim, enter, and last opening. There we are, so that's most of the work done. All I need to do to finish it off is insert those blocks that I've given you. So if we go to the insert panel, use more options, browse, and then you'll have to go to the P drive, student resources, interior design, AutoCAD library, and then AutoCAD Femwick blocks, as all the ones you'll need. So we'll start with the window, I suppose, double click. And so I'm going to make sure I've got the option there under insertion point ticked, specify on screen, and then also under rotation. So I want to specify those two things by clicking points on the screen. And just to give you a tip, scale never works. Don't ever tick that one, it's useless. It's just too sensitive to make it usable. So the only ones you need to think about usually are insertion point and rotation. So I'm going to click OK, and now you'll see the window comes up on my cursor, and you can see when you look at that preview probably where you need to click to place it. So here it's going to be the corner on the inside. And then as long as Polar or Auto are turned on, you can use the cursor then to change the angle, and it's going to snap to the right one. Yeah, that's right. When you get the right angle, that's, yep, when you click, yep, that's it. Yep. So there we are. So we've got the window there, and then you can just keep inserting them that way, and that will work. Oops, not there, sorry, that one. Exactly, that's what I was going to show you, yeah. So yeah, you can definitely insert them again, but it's a good chance to try or practice with copy. So if I click on the window to select it, and then click on the copy button, and then I can maybe snap to one of the corners of the opening, and then just come along and snap to the same corner in each of the next two openings. Now I could copy to here as well, but because it's got to be rotated, it's probably just as easy to insert it again. Good chance to look at this. So we've got the window coming up now in those thumbnails. We can get it from there. And so, oh, for good. They're stored in your file. So once you insert it, yeah, they're in that file forever. Yep, until you clear them. Yep, yep. So yep. So then, well, as long as the computers exist. So yep. So here, it's this corner here at the bottom that I have to click, because you've got to think about how it would be when it's rotated. So if I click there, now again you'll see once I bring it around to rotate, it'll be the right way. And you can tell from the sill, so that thing, if you're not sure, that's the window sill that needs to go outside the building. And so now again I can copy that one down to the bottom, because it's the same angle. And the very last thing is just to then insert the doors, same way. So here under Insert, go to More Options, and then Browse. In the same folder you'll find the first door is just called Door Plan Double. And again, I'll leave the same options and just click OK. And you're going to see I've actually done this correctly in terms of construction, not maybe some of the graphics you might have seen in some other drawings. That means that the door jamb actually sits on the inside of the wall. Because if you think about the way the door needs to open, the hinge would need to be flush with the inside, otherwise the doors couldn't fold back to the inside of the wall like they do in a real door. So that's where it should be, right on the corner there, not the middle. So again here, you could use the cursor due to the angle. It was already at the right angle, but I'll just make sure it stays that way, and then click when I'm happy with it. And then just one more to go, and that's the plan done. So this is the other one, Door Plan Double 2000, because that's how wide it is. So this one again is already at the right angle, but again, I'll just make sure it stays that way. Done. So that's it, and so I'll give you some time to try that.